Cheerio, tally-ho, no DQ Galaxy. Tis I, the General, Jerry Slaughter. With me, as always, the Wizard of No DQ, Stephen Osborne. And joining us on the other side of the world, the Duchess of No DQ, Cindy. And we're here for another NXT Party, covering the episodes 5 and 6 of NXT UK. Lots of great stuff going on in that, of course.
Yeah, especially episode 5.
Episode 5 was fantastic. But a couple things we want to address first before we dive right into the action here. A very happy 20th birthday to NoDQ.com.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Cheers, yeah, yes.
Cheers.
Might as well cheers
A
now.
toast. A toast to No DQ. I'm going to drink nothing. But
Yeah,
oh, no,
never tea.
A toast to No DQ, my actual tea.
Yeah, there you go.
This is just water for now.
Yeah, it's true. No DQ turned 20 today, as in yesterday, Wednesday. And personally, I've been going to, I would say 19 years plus. It wasn't long. Back then, it was on Tripod. It was WWF, WCW.com, and then he had to change it to the Mayhem, which I dug, but it was also the name of the WCW CD, the Mayhem. I actually own that CD.
Oh, you poor thing.
Please don't shame me. I spent my own money. I went to Target, I think, and I bought like 4 CDs. I bought the WWF The Music Volume 4. I bought WCW's The Mayhem. I bought Limp Bizkit's Significant Other, which was edited and was, I wish I'd bought it somewhere else. And then something else, I can't remember what the other one was. Shows how great it was. But yeah, I own that album. It was one of the first CDs I ever bought. Was the Mayhem. There were some good songs. I enjoyed it. Not as much as Significant Other, but... Or even the Music Volume 4 had a bunch of great ones.
Sad Life Alone. Go on with your story.
Well, we did want to mention, of course, we've got Cindy, the Duchess of No DQ, with us again this week. This makes it an NXT party. This is what we were going for, a 3-person panel. The 2 of us, of course. And we want fans in the spot that you see Cindy in now, in our new format, instead of trying to do the Skype video. We're just funneling in the Skype onto this awesome screen here that I had laying around. So we want fans, and we are going to get a fan next week. We've got Owen Finch, who is a No DQ super fan. He's a fan of the show, and he wanted to be on, and it so happens he can be on next week. So you're going to see him next week. There's a few other fans that we're hoping to get on soon, but we want to reach out to all the No DQ Galaxy out there and invite you to come have a spot of NXT with us and join our panel and be our 3rd person and talk about what I'm assuming for a while is going to be 2 full episodes, 2 full hours of NXT UK every week.
They're playing a lot of catch-up, but we're getting a lot of great matches and stuff in the process.
And we're getting 2 hours where 1 hour can hopefully make up for the fact that at this point there's always a kind of shitty hour.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that later. First hour, though, was great.
Alright, yeah, we started off the first show with just the announcement that naturally we have our main event, Pete Dunne versus Burch, right? Danny Burch?
Danny Burch.
Danny Burch. And that's going to be our main event for the evening. I was already looking way forward to that.
Well, I didn't think we were going to get this match this quickly because it was a UK Championship match, but then I vaguely remember them announcing it the week prior. So, or maybe they didn't. I don't know. But I was excited for it just to see Pete Dunne. I wasn't so much excited to see Danny Burch.
Well, I'd only see Danny Burch in tag matches, so it's going to be interesting to actually really see him in a singles match. So actually, no, we did see him in a singles match because he did that Hangman DDT thing, and I was like, he could have just done that with 1 person.
Yeah, that was his contendership qualification for this champion. Maybe, I don't know. It made him look good, and he gets his title shot, and we get to see it tonight. But that will be the main event, I'm pretty sure. I've actually got a lot of notes for this episode. It was a great match. But first match was going to be Dave Mastiff versus Damian Weir. And who didn't think Damian Weir was the jobber of jobbers in this match? What do you know about Dave Mastiff? Because personally, I am impressed. I'm talking to Cindy. I'm sorry. Cindy, Duchess, what do you know about Dave Mastiff? I know you know a lot of indie people.
I'm very impressed with Dave Mastiff. I mean, he's going to be like one of the tough guys in the NXT UK roster. I mean, we did see him compete in, I think, this year's WWE UK tournament. And for the way that they're trying to build him up, he's just going to be doing just like couple squash matches until they'll get like some storyline feud with one other roster member. But for that match was like a pretty good start for him, especially against Damian Weir. You have a lot of the crowd just like chanting Mastiff's gonna kill you, and then other chants that everybody's more in favor of Mastiff. But one of the things I'm very impressed about him was his finisher, the cannonball.
Oh, that cannonball senton, yeah.
Well, that was 1/3 of the entire match.
Yeah,
was his finisher. Basically, if you didn't know, if at first you didn't know that Damian Weir was going to lose in this match, he comes out, and I think
he was already in the ring.
Yeah, he's gulping.
He's gulping. He's staring in absolute horror at the ring, at the camera shaking Dave Mastiff, and it just spelled doom. This wasn't even a squash match. This was
the definition of a squash match.
This is a squash match to end all squash matches.
Nope.
Barry Horowitz is still somewhere taking notes on where he went wrong in his career.
It took me 3 lines to sum up the entirety of this match. So I actually wrote the notes because I can actually explain to you exactly what happened in this match in 3 lines. So Damian Weir goes for a crossbody immediately. No lockup, no nothing. He immediately goes with all of his weight in the air, and Mastiff no-sells it.
No.
Weir just falls.
Yeah, he just bounces off.
At his feet. And then there's a standing senton by Mastiff. So he's immediately crushed. He's probably broken a bone or 2.
And did you hear the scream come out of Damian Weir?
Well, he's so tiny. He's so tiny in comparison. And that probably wasn't a scream he intended to have. It's just all the air forced out of him.
That
and he squeaked. He was a squeaky toy.
That gave like Norman Smiley a run for his money on that scream. It was great.
We had Mastiff lift up this nothing of weight. And I'm not saying he's nothing of a wrestler, but weight-wise compared to Mastiff, he's nothing. He lifts him up for a delayed vertical suplex. What'd you call this suplex?
Stalling one. It's a deadlift stalling suplex.
Well, no, I mean, there was a comment you made. He held him in the air so long.
I don't...
Like a rag, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I was hoping you made a note of that.
Yeah.
So he drops him with the delayed vertical. He drags him to the corner, and that sets up the thumbs down. Or no, he gives him a thumbs up.
He gives him a thumbs up. He's like, you're doing great.
You're doing great.
Just stay right there.
It's almost over. And that turns into the running cannonball, and he pulls him out for the pinfall.
Yeah.
So, like, 3 moves.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you get the time of how many minutes the match lasts?
No, did you?
No, I honestly feel this match kind of ran like 3 minutes in my opinion. But
90 seconds, maybe.
I'd say it's about 2.5, 3 minutes long, but that's only because he after a while he was just he just took his time dragging him off to the corner and setting him nice and gently.
Even still, I'd be willing to bet it's closer to 90 seconds.
Yeah, but...
Because the bell rings and he goes for the flying crossbody.
Yeah.
And nothing. And then the senton. And then he picks him up and he doesn't even hold him in the vertical suplex, I don't think, as long as we've seen lately from Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
But holds him up for a bit, but that, not even Yeah, but it's closer to a minute or 90 seconds. That was a short match. That was, like I said, the definition of a squash match.
Yeah.
Like, this match just kind of reminds me of, like, the whole Braun Strowman versus James Ellsworth match. Like, you can get, like, a sense of feel to it. Like, you have this, you know, kind of like a scrawny-looking, like, jobber, and then you have this, like...
Massive man. He's so massive that, again, when he does his entrance this week, the camera rumbles every time he takes a step.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. Thank you for pointing it out, so I didn't just, like, oblivious. Yeah, sure, the camera shakes. Is he so heavy? No, they make that happen.
Like, the thing I love most about what I've seen so far out of NXT UK is the fact that they do have these squash matches like these. Because when I was growing up, when it was still the WWF and stuff, they had those superstar programs where they would take the enhancement talents and whatnot and put them in a match with you know, somebody they're either trying to bring up or somebody established. Just so somebody can see your favorite wrestler on a weekly basis just completely destroy somebody else. So the fact that they're actually doing these kind of matches again versus just having superstar versus superstar and no real build-up anymore, I really enjoyed that. So,
well, they're doing them. They are unashamedly throwing squash matches. Everybody gets a squash. Everybody gets a video package, and everybody gets a squash match.
They have a veritable produce section of squash this year.
When you do get a showcase match where it's a great talent versus a great talent, they end up being highlighted matches of the night. They end up being the match of the night, no matter where they fall on the card. Usually they fall in the main event.
Yeah.
But we have seen some main event letdowns in the short history of NXT UK. But this episode was great. So Mastiff looked awesome, and there's no surprise there.
No.
And then we get a recap of last week's main event. And this is essentially their new long-term storyline that I like. I like that it encompasses so many different characters. We've got the trio of the Coffee Brothers and Wolfgang basically overpowering the two, who was it? The guy with three names.
Mandrew and...
Well, no. Yeah.
And naturally we have the Flash Morgan Webster.
Yep.
So this is the new storyline moving forward. But then we had... The guy that was naturally going to be, what's his name? He got taken out in the backstage area, but I presume, the guy with Sasha Banks' last name.
Yeah, Travis Banks.
Which is a shame.
It looked like he was going to, maybe he got injured or something, but now we're getting this this new guy. Who's the new guy?
Well, like, that happens later on in the show, but Ashton Smith.
So this is going to be, I like this long-term one because, like I said, it encompasses so many characters. And so it gives you the opportunity to finally invest in these characters, and you can do it by the numbers.
Yes.
So then we get, of course, a video package.
Like, we get our video package of Ligero, who we saw not too long ago, I think on one of the first episodes.
It was the very first episode.
Yeah, and because
that's the guy
like somebody Union Jacked all over him.
He was covered in that flag, and I made the comment that it looked like because his face mask was nothing but that flag, and then he had the horns with the flag colors, and it looked like somebody Union Jacked off all over him.
But 15-year veteran just. Finally getting a shot on WWE television or NXT television, but still WWE television regardless. And then we have a debut for the company.
Well, before he debuts, this is something that I've noticed out of NXT UK that is relatively new to me.
Yeah,
I'm sure it happened a lot back in the day. Literally everybody gets video packages, including the enhancement talent.
Yes.
The enhancement talent. I find myself during a lot of these matches thinking that this isn't going to be a squash match because the enhancement talent, the guy that's getting pinned or is going to submit, gets a video package that makes him look red hot.
Yeah. But, like, I think we had this discussion between just me and you the other day, because I actually coined a term that you actually thoroughly enjoyed, which was consignment talent.
Yes, consignment talent.
Like, you have that wrestler that may be brand new to you, but completely has probably been wrestling professionally since they were 14, 15 years old, like 10 years or whatnot. And maybe somebody else's favorite wrestler from a company like Cindy. I know you're all over the place when it comes to indie wrestling, so you've probably seen a lot of these guys come up from like just the start and just rising, and then everybody's like, wow, this rookie or this new sensation. You're like, I saw this guy like 8 years ago, like a gymnasium show. I was eating popcorn. He took the popcorn out of my hand.
Here.
In that vein, Cindy, have you seen Ligero or James Drake anywhere outside of NXT UK before?
Well, surprisingly enough, Ligero, or should I say El Ligero, which is his main name in the indies.
That's Spanish for the liger.
The WWE Cruiserweight Classic, right?
Yeah.
He was in it, actually.
Was he? I don't remember the horns.
He was in a different mask, besides, like, the whole,
Okay.
like, the
Okay.
board.
For a second, I was like, seriously, I watched that whole thing, and I don't remember the horns, let alone that all over him.
He was known as El Ligero before dropping the L when he joined NXT. And so, he's very well known all around Europe, especially international. Well, he wrestled with Progress, Define Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Noah, and so forth. And he is like known for like having this strong style with a hint of a bit of a lucha flair to it as well.
I was about to say strong style luchas. I think I think that'd be the best term for like how he wrestles, because a lot of like hurricane ranas and fast-paced maneuvers, but then he'll nail you with these knee strikes and just strikes in general. So
and then his finishing move is a springboard.
Yeah, that springboard DDT, and so he's an incredible blend. He really truly is, and he's got the right size for it. He's got the right look, and he's also able to pull this stuff off. But James Drake, we didn't really know like really much about the guy. So
he did compete in the not the NXT, but the WWE UK tournament this year. From whatever.
I'm gonna admit, I got into NXT UK. I have not seen the UK tournament. I only know what they tell me on NXT UK, so I don't remember that because I didn't watch it. So why would I remember it?
Well, even so, like that's why we have Cindy here, because she's a fountain of knowledge in that sense. So
yeah.
So are you.
Surprisingly, he lost to Flash Morgan Webster round 1.
Oh, well.
I think she's got her Google going.
No, she's just got that memory is what she's got.
Well, I thought James Drake was coming in looking hot off that video package.
Yeah.
His package made him look hot. What made him look hotter was the fact that he had his own face plastered across his ass. That's his logo. That's his.
It was very Rick Rude-ish.
He has an ass face.
Yes.
And it's his own face on his ass.
Oh, yeah.
But I can tell you one thing, I won't forget it. He's also got a nose piercing, and I can't think of one wrestler that I've ever seen that has just a nose piercing. Because I believe Draws and Prince Albert and maybe a few of them back in the Attitude Era would have a bunch of piercings, including nose. In fact, I think Draws had the chain from his ear to his nose.
Yeah, he did.
But famously, I think it got ripped out one time in a match.
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did. And I've never seen, though, a wrestler that just has a nose piercing. And he stands out a little bit to me. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, he was the enhancement talent. Ligero was there to look good, but he looked good, too. But Ligero looked better.
like we saw the Code Red bomb, which is always impressive to me. Like anytime you get turn either a sunset flip or a flip like that into either a pile driver or a power bomb, I go, ooh.
Well, it was a near fall moment. It looked great. Well, the one I wanted to mention was Drake's move, where Ligero was running at him in the corner, and he does that leg sweep.
Yeah.
That I think the commentary called it such a unique leg sweep, and I'm like, looks like any leg sweep you'd ever see on an old 2D video fighter game.
Yeah.
Just a standard leg sweep, but it looked bad, or it looked brutal.
Yeah.
So he takes him down into the corner, and then when he gets up, he does a running drop kick into the corner that looked equally as brutal.
I think it was called Grit Your Teeth or something.
Something like that.
Something of that nature.
It definitely makes you grit your teeth a little bit.
But the rest of that match, Ligero was checking his mouth. He was checking to see if he still had teeth left. No, I'm dead serious. Even after the pin, he's standing there with the referee like, A lot of dental work probably went into that match, but it was a good follow-up match to the squash that we had just had, which led into an interview with Tony Storm.
Well, by the way, Ligero wins the match.
Oh,
he hits his finisher. I don't know. Did they name his finisher yet? No, it's just a springboard into a tornado DDT.
Do you really need a finisher name for that?
Just call it the Union Jack-Off.
What do you guys think of the nonsense chant from the crowd? Because I know they chant nonsense.
Oh, they chant a lot of nonsense. We're always down on the crowd because it's such a small venue, and acoustically anybody can be heard by the whole crowd, and so they're constantly telling each other jokes and making themselves laugh. And I like when the crowd though gets into it because the wrestlers are inviting them to be into it, like what we see later on in the second show with the shoes. That's entertaining, but yeah, occasionally that crowd is like, could you just like enjoy the match with us for a little bit?
But basically, I think that makes the wrestlers work harder to actually get the crowd more into the match. But at the same time, yeah, that it's kind of takes us out over here because like we're trying to enjoy the match too, and but. It goes into
an interview with Tony Storm.
An interview with Tony Storm, pretty much saying she wants to be the top chick there, naturally, or that she is. And who joins her on camera but Dakota Kai, saying, as great as you're going to be, I'm going to be that much better. So...
Well, it's basically, there's no UK Women's Champion yet.
No.
So everybody's trying to rack up the wins, and especially wins over opponents that are credible. And in this case, on the next episode, which we will be reviewing soon, on this episode of the NXTea Party, we will see Tony Storm versus Dakota Kai, and everybody's vying for a spot to try and get the first ever Women's UK Championship.
Yeah.
And that's all we're seeing here is respect in. It was still kind of okay of a promo, but when it's two faces and it's just respect and it's just like, yeah, seen it.
Yeah, especially with the just coming off the heels of Evolution, we saw a lot of that. Pretty much matches for like women's respect and whatnot, we're going to see that. We're
going to see that a lot at Survivor Series because ain't nothing on the line, but just the respect. I won.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't get the other guy's championship or the other gal's championship.
No.
But I won.
So we go into Ashton Smith being hyped as per usual because he's supposed to be having a match coming up next.
Supposed to be.
But
as per usual with these little video packages that they have pre-match, usually there's something in between.
Yeah.
It's not really, the match isn't really up next. Really up next, we get a promo by Zach Gibson doing a selfie on his phone.
Yep.
And a lot of views from the audience.
Yeah. He's doing a promo that obviously is being, broadcast on the screen for the audience to see, and you can hear the audience from the back booing, so loud that it's still almost hard to hear him.
I am honestly starting to believe that anytime he opens up his mouth, he's some sort of ventriloquist, and the boos are actually coming out of him because he is so universally hated that he has soaked some of them in, and they just pour out of his mouth.
I'm telling you, this crowd hates him because of who he is. That's how bad the heat is.
You don't have heels like that anymore. You just don't. And he's doing such a fine job and almost doing nothing but just talking that he's going to be the top heel in this company. Like if it hasn't been established yet, it's going to keep going in that route.
Yeah, and he's good. He's actually, it's not like he's just getting all this heel heat and that's all he's got. He's actually good on the mic. He's good in the ring. I think he made a comment on the match that we saw with him where he's just, he's old school in the ring. Like, he's kind of like the Revival or
he's not a fan of the whole flash of the pan thing. He's very meat and potatoes when it comes to wrestling, and he's very vocal about that, which is something to admire. But then also you have these fans that just hate that because they want to see flash in the pan. They want to see, suicide dives and flips and colorful costumes and whatnot. And he's just not having any of it, and they don't like that. They don't like that at all.
Well, they start chanting Zach Gibson is a wanker.
Yeah, at one point.
At him during his match. Like, they create chants just to insult him.
Yes.
It is like, it's like if Elias was coming back to Seattle every week.
Oh, yeah.
And they continued to booze where they left off from the initial insult. That's his heat right now in that corn exchange. Now, when we start getting to other venues, let's see if the heat continues on him. But for now, he is a hated man.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But that heat gives him momentum, and I believe he really ought to be the top heel on this program.
Oh, it wouldn't shock me at all. And granted, I don't see him getting the title off Pete Dunne, but I do see some sort of title run for him in the near future in some way, shape, or form, because he's just too good to not have a belt at this point.
I disagree. I mean, if it's not Eddie Dennis, then it's definitely this guy needs to be.
Yeah.
Zach Gibson needs to be the guy that beats Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
Elevate him as the top heel by him beating Pete Dunne with nefarious manner.
Yep.
There you go.
So, after that, we head into Ashton Smith and him. A short little video package of him talking, and they're saying he's up next. He's going to be in action. He gets out, starts doing working the crowd, only to be attacked by the Coffee Brothers and Wolfgang.
Yeah, I'm going to be on.
Or the what do we call them? The Wolfgang Pack.
The Wolfgang Pack.
The Wolfgang Pack.
I'm gonna be honest here. Like, I thought this was about to be a match, so I just wrote down Ashton Smith versus, and then I go back to my phone to start editing our video of what's NXT, and I look up and he's like, well, I guess that match isn't gonna happen. I'm like, what the hell just happened? He was just coming out and it was his entrance. I was waiting on writing down who his opponent was. We don't even know who his opponent was supposed to be.
Those are always the great matches. Anytime they don't mention who the wrestler is going to be going against, there's always that chance it's either going to be a squash match or a match isn't going to happen. And in this case, the match didn't happen. We get to see them come out and cut a quick promo, naturally.
Well, they didn't cut a promo.
Oh,
Joe
true.
Coffey cut a promo.
Yeah.
I guess Joe Coffey, like you said, is going to be the leader.
He's going to be the mouthpiece of the group, and what a mouthpiece he is. He actually, he is just not really as hated as Gibson, but he's getting up there. The whole faction actually is, whatever their names end up being. So I'm liking where they're going.
Well, he calls them the king, or no, he says this is our kingdom.
Oh, I hope they'll go. I hope they'll go with the Kingdom because that's already kind of taken by in Ring of Honor.
I wouldn't go with the Kingdom. Something along those lines, though. Or if you even name the group, I'm hoping this. I'm honestly hoping this is just to help get them all over and get people invested in their characters, and then eventually this is going to break up, and they'll go back to being the tag team and the 4 singles competitors. But if they do create factions, I'll be okay with it.
I'm just hoping there's not going to be any more of the what chant. Like, you can hear a lot of, like, what chant from the crowd. When they cut a promo, and it's kind of like, more of, like, a distraction moment for, like, how they're going to build up. But to me, I'm actually, like, looking forward to how the Coffee Gang's gonna bring their momentum, especially we have like a possible chance of a NXT UK tag team title in the midst.
That's very true. I'm sorry to wonder if like they do something like that. If they're that's the closest I think you're gonna get to the Freebird rule with them. Is they're gonna have Wolfgang with them, and that's gonna be their kind of like their wild card. Like, you'll be facing one of the Coffee Brothers and Wolfgang.
Well, what if instead of regular tag team championships, this will be the brand that actually does the trios belts, the 6-man tag championships?
That would be interesting because we haven't seen that like in this company yet. Or
that would be hilarious because you've got Mustache Mountain, on the horn. Guys, pair up 2x2. And come make the tag team division something awesome so that when we become champions, we can say we stand at the top of this big-ass mountain. But instead, now they have to go find a third party.
For a while there, actually was Pete Dunne, I think, was the third man kind of like in their little faction.
Yeah, but that was in NXT. Is that canon for NXT UK? Well, probably. I don't know. It would make sense, though. Plus, he could be a dual champion.
Yeah. Oh, that make him. So
the first dual champion of NXT UK.
So, following up with that, we also had Mandrew and Flash Morgan Webster hanging out outside of the.
Well, before that, we got to get excited. I'm excited.
Oh,
At this point, I could care less about Flash Morgan Webster.
The graphic comes up that we've been waiting for quite some time.
For 3 weeks.
I know Cindy's been excited about it too, naturally. The debut, or the NXT UK debut of Mr. Eddie Dennis. So, like, we're finally going to get to see him in action, and that we're just really psyched about that. Which is followed by
Mark Andrews, Flash Morgan Webster. They're outside, of course. They're outside the office
of Johnny Saint.
Of the door that you don't go inside, just has the name of Johnny Saint on it, general manager.
Just like William Regal's, which is pretty much a broom closet, probably as well. He did never go inside that room. It's just well established that the name is on the door. And
so we have Radzi approach them. And he's UK's resident interviewer. He's the Kathy Kelly of NXT UK. He's everywhere. Well, he approaches them and he wants to know what they're there to see Johnny Saint about. And of course, they want to get revenge on the Coffee Brothers and Wolfgang.
Yes. So, out of nowhere, not really out of nowhere, I think it was kind of expected that Ashton Smith comes into view and says, if you're going after the Coffee Brothers and Wolfgang, you guys are going to need some help, and I'm more than willing to throw my hat in the ring here.
Yeah, he said, count me in.
He's like, count me in.
Yeah, which is kind of like surprising per se, because at the WWE UK tournament this year, Ashton Smith is a heel. I'm assuming that for Ashton's debut, he's going to come as a heel. But then, him, aligning with Mandrews and Flash Morgan Webster, it's like a whole shift to his character now that he became a babyface. And I'm very skeptical how they're going to properly book Ashton as a face, because I preferably seen him as a heel. But I think it would be a good move per se. But
well, he's new to the brand in any capacity, so he can come in fresh as a heel, face, a tweener, whatever they want. But for the people that do remember that aspect of his indie career, they can also use this to turn him on Mandrews and Flash Morgan Webster.
Yeah.
I mean, he could. I mean, of course, he did get attacked by the Coffee Brothers and Wolfgang, but he could end up joining up with them, create a super group. So you never know. I mean, they could go a number of different directions with it, but the fact that he starts off as a face, I see him fresh. So I would assume that the majority of people that are watching this didn't know that he was a heel to begin with.
Because they're even chatting along with him at the at the center, so they're I don't think a lot of them know his heel work, but at the same time, I can see him being like going heel at some point, and he's got that charisma to him. I think he's going to do great regardless, but I can actually see him being a face right now is what they really need, because all the really great heel positions are kind of taken.
Yeah.
So,
and they need a third person as a face for this group. I'm assuming because the other guy actually probably got injured. Thank you. The other guy. That's my go-to for, hey man, what was his name? Say it real quick.
No, that was also Matt Riddle too for you. So.
Oh, but neither one of us could remember Matt Riddle in that episode.
We couldn't.
So up next we have Sid Scala, another jobber of all jobbers. Sid Scala is such a the announce team said his motto is, if at first you don't succeed, try again. I said, that is the jobber's motto. I mean, they never succeed, but they...
From 2K19.
Yeah. So, and then out comes Eddie Dennis, and the second he hits that stage, he looks even more bitter than he did in any video package that like he had already been dressed into. And even during the match at one point, which is like my favorite part in the entire match, he just screams out at the crowd, "It's been 10 years and this is what you give me? This is what I get?" I'm like, wow. He's even mad about his first opponent.
As he was coming down the ramp, I paused the show and I'm like, hey dude, does he still look like he's got that whole can of Pringles on his shoulder? He's like, man, that bag is so crunchy, the audience can hear it.
It's just, he's got like he's got that Fritos variety pack on him at this point. All you hear are just chips just falling off this dude's shoulder because he has so many of them. But tall and lanky. I didn't really expect him to be as tall as he actually was, but he towers over Scala at this point.
It's those tailored suits because he's, that professional principal guy.
And what follows is him taking Scala to school.
Yeah, basically. I mean, Scala tries to evade a lot, but there's only so much you can do. And he's been built up for 3 weeks with 3 very beautiful video packages. There's no way Eddie Dennis is losing this match.
But there's actually points where Sid Scala actually developed. Yeah, he was not going to win this match.
Well, I mean, he starts off the match, and I guess it's like Sid Scala being kind of maybe defensive a little bit.
Yeah.
Or just he slaps Eddie Dennis. Is that ever a good move? When you're obviously the jobber, is it ever a good move to defiantly slap your opponent? And Dennis just smiles at him, has this crazy smile. And yeah, he's super tall and super lanky, and he towers over Scala. But we do see Scala try and evade. He does these evade spots, but he gets up to the top rope in the corner, and this is where the match is pretty much over. Because Dennis gets up and he catches him in the corner and he hits him with a razor's edge buckle bomb.
Yes. Pretty much just has him over his shoulders and just launches him right into the turnbuckle. And it's one of those cringe-worthy moves. It always is because it's so sketchy because it can go wrong so easily. But he ate, the back of his head ate so much turnbuckle. And it was so beautifully done.
Now, I think they called this move the 7th bridge.
Yeah.
And, are you falling asleep, Cindy?
I'm fine. Sorry. It's like midnight here and all that.
I know it's like 3 a.m. here.
It's the lighting too.
Well, we'll try and get through this. We're not even to the end of the first episode. Good grief.
No, it's all good. But I must say, like, this is like quite like a most entertaining enhancement match ever. Especially, I would give kudos to Sid.
Sid sold the moves like crazy.
Yeah.
He's very sympathetic in the way he got his ass kicked.
And you regret is slapping Eddie Dennis, and boy, you don't want to slap a principal.
No, you.
Well, murder you.
The only problem I had with this entire match was the commentating team, because every time they said the name of a move, we had to back it up like 3 times to try and understand what the guy was saying with his accent. And I guess that's just us not having the proper accent to understand. But I think his finisher was called the next stop driver.
Yeah, that's the finishing move from him.
Okay. I was right.
Alright, so I thought it was neck stomp. I'm like, neck stomp driver, but he's not stomping on his neck.
No.
I don't get that.
It was like a sidewalk slam, but he cradles them and drops them on their neck. And he got the pinfall, of course. But let's move this along, because I don't want Cindy to fall asleep on us.
I'm fine, don't worry.
Well, next week, next episode, we're going to get Tony Storm versus Dakota Kai, surprise, surprise. And we're going to get the 6-man tag that they're moving along with all the guys that went into Johnny Saint's office, yes. So now we are on to the main event of the evening, finally. It's taken us 45 minutes to get there.
Yeah, but we had a good show. We had, like, debuts that we had been waiting for. We had some excellent squash match to start everything off. So,
yeah.
But now we've reached something that's been boiling up to, and that's this main event, which is just phenomenal.
Yeah, it was a great match. It was a great story in the ring. It was for the UK Championship.
Yep.
This is all makings for a really good rating, I would say.
But naturally, like, the whole thing told a great story, and I know you took a lot of notes on it. Like, there were so many great spots and so much going on that it was hard for me to actually write a whole bunch of it down because I was so engrossed in what was going on.
Yeah, well, I had the remote. I paused it a lot.
Yes. So I was like, what are you doing?
Sorry, man. I got to write that down. What do you call that move again? How would you describe... Oh, some of the moves that these people do on these NXT shows, I can't name them. And if you name them, it's an indie name. Nobody knows what you're talking about. Like it's like saying Uranagi before Uranagi became cool to call a rock bottom. You know? But
or Kiora, which is just a double knee stomp.
Yeah.
So this match lived up to the hype. It was a great match, and like he said, it told a story. And if you guys know me, I love a good story in the ring. That will take a 3-star match to a 4-star match if they tell a good story. And to me, the story in the match was the work that Pete Dunne was doing on Burch's arm, on his left arm, the elbow, the wrist, the fingers, the phalanges, the Regina phalanges,
the metacarpals, the metacarpals, the carpals. He pretty much just made mincemeat out of anything he could do on that left arm.
Yeah, so out of an entire page worth of notes, I want to run through the story of the work on the arm. Because it really started with what I like to call the Baszler stomp. Because I think Baszler does it better. Where the elbow's up and the hands inverted. I guess it would be better to show on this side.
Yeah.
And then he stomps on the elbow. And that's where it started. But he takes him outside and goes to stomp on his hand on the ring steps. And he dodges. And Burch gets out of the way and he hits a wicked-looking German suplex on the outside onto the mat, onto Dunne. And it takes him a minute to get up.
Oh, yeah,
this was bad. Like, both of them looked like they had eaten something.
Yeah. And, like, we had paused it at just a certain moment where you could almost see Pete Dunne's soul leaving his body. He hit that ground so hard.
Yeah, his face looked funny, to say the least. His face looked funny. So they get back in the ring, and Burch is standing over Dunne, and Dunne goes for the triangle. And he can't, Burch can't really get, he's going for that single arm power bomb, and he can't really get it up. But eventually he powers him up and he goes for a buckle bomb. Surprise, surprise, we get another buckle bomb in this show. But that's okay, I guess. And it's just, it's like the power move that takes just as much out of you because you're using your injured arm.
Yes. That was just like more of a testament that it was going to take more than what Pete Dunne's used to actually make Burch tap out in any way, shape, or form. It's the fact that he's said, look, I'm still able to do this with my injured arm. We're going to be going for a while.
Well, it's a classic piece to the story, but it helps tell the story. And then at one point, Dunne is on the mat, and Burch is over him, and Dunne just reaches up out of nowhere and grabs Burch by his left arm. He finger locks him, intertwines his fingers, and just starts kicking him in the head over and over, to the point to where you actually see Dunne get up, and he's vertical now, and Burch is laying flat, and it looks like he's out. And so Dunne, I guess he thinks he's out, and he goes to, do his taunt or pose or sneer at the crowd or whatever he does, and he turns around, and Burch has no-sold this move, and he is standing looking him in the face, and just, he hits him with a headbutt that just claps through the crowd. It was wicked sounding, and it was wicked looking.
There was an echo that I've never heard from a headbutt before, and it just came from that one. It reverberated. It shook the walls of the center, and that's when the
exchange.
Yeah, that's when the crowd was already into the match naturally, but
anybody that was sleeping woke up.
They woke up. It was almost like Eddie Dennis had walked back out and slapped erasers or something together and woke up the class. Is what happened, because they're like, "What? Oh."
So Burch takes this move into his draping DDT, the move that he does with Oni Lorcan that, as I've said, he can do by himself, so it's not really a tag team move. But he drops him for this DDT, this draping DDT off the top rope, and he doesn't get the pin.
No,
it's a near fall. But I guess he's working on the head, and that's his part of the story, is he's working on Dunne's head. And we'll see this later when he locks on a crossface forever.
Yeah, the crossface, like, Pete Dunne tries to roll out a couple times, and anytime he does lock it, like, roll out of, like, Burch is right back on it. He actually is able to either twist or turn or contort right back into the crossface and pull it down even harder. So,
but the way Dunne gets out is
is
with the small joint manipulation. He grabs those fingers and he pulls the crossface off, and he hits the bitter end.
Yeah.
And I thought this match was over, but it was only a near fall.
Yeah.
Danny Burch kicks out, and Dunne, I guess he's frustrated at this point, but he's not one to give up, especially when he's put all this work into that left arm. He cinches on the triangle again, but this time he rolls Danny Burch over onto his stomach, and he pulls the left arm back and then cinches it. Well, first he cracks the fingers.
Yeah.
Cracks all of them separately, all together. He cracks them all, and then pulls back on that hand. And as soon as he does, Burch is tapping.
Yep. That was the end right there. Like, basically, the second he cinched in the hand, and I saw, like Burch slapping his arm, like, pretty much tapping out. But when you're actually tapping like that versus actually tapping on the mat, you've actually...
it's that sudden pain that you can't stand for another second, and you're done.
Yeah.
What were the highlights of this match for you, Cindy?
I mean, I would say, like, pretty much almost everything in that match was, like, a very eye-opener, per se. And I think this is one of the most better match that Danny Burch ever had. Since his debut in NXT, he had like a bit of a solo single match, but it was even that memorable. But the only thing I remember about him is just teaming with Orty Lorgan and also the NXT TakeOver Chicago 2 match they had against Undisputed Era. But this is like one of the most high prolific match that he ever had, like pretty much since his WWE debut.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say like the crowd was like 50-50 on them, and especially the chant "Fight Forever." It was by far, I would say, one of the best main event match we've seen from the NXT UK brand since episode 1. And I'm very surprised about Pete Dunne's submission hold finisher too, because even though I am a fan of his bitter end finisher, but like the new submission finisher was definitely right.
Yeah, it just chalks up more to that viciousness of his.
Oh yeah, it just plays into his personality, his in-ring personality, that he's always going over those small joints. I like it.
It's more of that rabid dog approach. Is he pretty much senses the blood, he sees it, and he just keeps on attacking right at the small joints, right at the tendons and whatnot, versus like these big power moves that you would normally see finish off the match.
So it kind of doesn't make sense for the bitter end to be his finisher, because it is kind of a unique power move.
It is more of a setup move for him than anything else. So at least it leaves the opponent prone enough that he's able to lock on something like that.
It'd be nice if he could convert that and somehow roll into a finisher that uses the arm in a unique way.
Yeah.
So that was the main event. And actually, I wanted to say I agree with you, Cindy. For this main event, Danny Burch looked great. And I'm one to normally think he kind of looks bland. And he did not look bland in this match. They both made each other look, and this was probably credit to Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
Pete Dunne made him look good, but he also made Pete Dunne look good. So around here, we do our rating for the main event, and we do it. We used to do it with 5 liters into a gallon of tea, and I think we're just going to do 5 spots of tea, because that sounds way cooler.
Yeah,
way cooler, and that's all the reasoning we need. So, as our special guest Cindy, it is on you to first rate this main event match. Out of 5 spots of tea, what do you give the main event?
Well, like I mentioned it already, this is by far the best main event match that we all seen since episode 1 of the NXT UK brand. Both guys did an incredible job, especially I give more respect to Danny Burch now. I mean, like I said already, this is like by far his best match he had ever since debuting in the NXT brand. Pete Dunne, of course, as always, the Bruiserweight himself, trying to bring more of his heelish attitude, just trying to bend in Burch's fingers and his wrists, and it was all around amazing. The crowd was into it. The Fight Forever chant has been brewing, and a lot of memorable moments for that finisher per se.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to give this match like a 4 out of 5 in my book.
I was about to say 4 out of 5 actually sounds very, very fair, because the match was back and forth. The crowd was completely invested into it, like she says. There wasn't a whole bunch of nonsense chants or anything else. They're very meticulous in their viewing of this match. They knew the importance. They actually treated the belt, or the championship match.
They treated Pete Dunne with respect.
They treated Pete Dunne with respect. That is huge. So,
well, he's by far beyond deserved it at this point.
Yeah.
Because not only has he kept that championship for over a year, every time he defends it, he makes it look like it's important.
Yep. And there's one spot in the match that we didn't talk about, and that was the power bomb from Burch into that knee to the jaw. There was a knee to the jaw in this match from Burch. The the impact on it was just amazing. I'm like, he's not going to be able to hold the belt in his mouth anymore because it was such a vicious knee.
I think it was at that point in the match that you thought we might have a new champion.
I thought like Danny Burch could actually pull off an upset here.
He looked good, but
anytime I can actually say that about a match, a championship match at that, and especially since right at the beginning of the match, the announce team was talking about title reigns and Asuka's like women's title reign and everything in NXT. They mentioned that, but they also mentioned Pete Dunne's, which is I think 500 plus days now. Like he has been champion for quite a while, and that's what kind of started getting my thinking. It's like he could drop the belt before War Games like actually happens, and then that way that just sets up for if some reason Ricochet screws up on their end. Like that sparks back up that feud and possibly an actual shot to hell for him. But when I get in that wave of thinking, and I'm actually thinking the challenger actually has a chance, it makes me more invested into the match.
That's good.
So yeah, so definitely it earned almost like 3.5 stars just from that, and then the match itself lived up to the hype. If anything, it exceeded it to the point where, yes, I will give it 4.
4 is more than fair, absolutely 4, but off of the back of the rest of this show, like,
yes.
Because this show was great from start to finish.
Yes.
And as in, I believe I gave last night on NXT, on our What's NXT broadcast, I gave an extra quarter star because the great match was off the back of a great show. So I'm going to give this 4.25.
Yep.
Awesome.
And that was NXT UK episode 5. Now we have episode 6, and I think we can knock this out in 20 minutes.
I think we can. I think we can too. There's a lot more going on with just a lot of it is one individual talking in general. I'm pretty sure he talked for like 10 minutes alone. And so, first thing we see on this episode is Coffee and the Coffee Boys and Wolfgang showing up. So, because the main event this evening is going to be Coffee and Wolfgang versus Flash Morgan Webster.
Now you're having my problems.
Yes.
Mark Andrews and Ashton Smith. Yes. They got their match this past week, and it's going to be the main event for the evening. And that leads into a quick video package of Tony Storm's victory at the Mae Young Classic. And we get this video package because up next is the match that they promised from last week. We get to start off with an okay women's match between... It should be a showcase match. This should have been the match of the night. They should have started off with the match of the night where Toni Storm faces Dakota Kai.
Yeah. I was actually already looking forward to this because Toni Storm, she's impressive, but Dakota Kai, she's completely won me over. Just her work on NXT and NXT UK, I've enjoyed any matches she's been in that I've seen so far. The new denim jacket, I'm loving it.
Well, before I crap on what should have been a great match, Cindy, what was your perspective on this women's match?
Well, I think it was a pretty good match as for an opener per se. I mean, I give more respect to both ladies. I mean, you have everybody that is doing the both these girls chant during the matches. Like, they are very high on both Toni and Dakota as well. And like, being a fan of Toni Storm, especially like how she persevered to the Mae Young Classic, especially winning this year's Mae Young Classic finals at Evolution, it kind of sets the bar high on her end. And so overall, I was very impressed with the matches, especially there's some moments like you have is Toni did the double uppercut to Dakota, then a like a submission maneuver to her, like kind of like the STF.
Yeah.
Role for that. And then saw Tony with an impressive snap German suplex to Dakota, and then with Dakota, she has by far more of like the agility she needed for her roundhouse kick and other kick strike moves, because she is #Team Kickbait.
Oh, she's got the educated feet, as I call them, because of like it's very Tajiri like in her kicking and striking. She does a variety of kicks and face washes and everything. A lot of her moves are like, kick based, and I'm not mad about it, because like she delivers them quite well, and she's not humble about it in any way, shape, or form. So,
well, for me, this match started off disengaging me. It was this like the backstage segment we saw from the previous show. It was just the two baby faces, respect versus respect. I back you up into the corner, and then the ref says break, and then I back off without actually hitting you or smacking you in the face, or the other guy poking you in the eye, or some stupid shit like that. Just the respect, and then the rest of the match to me was just them doing their moves. Like there was no story. I didn't have any stake in either one of them winning, because whoever wins, they're both going to be happy for each other. So yay.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I even mentioned at one point, there's got to be some sort of heel turn out of one of these two after, like, in this match.
Nope.
But there's no heel turn. It was respect.
No, we saw a heel, because after, spoiler alert, but I guess you tune in for spoilers, Toni Storm wins. We should have seen the fact that Toni Storm was going to win, and the fact that she was the only one of the two of them that got a video package before this match. So that should have tipped us off. Or we could have just looked it up, because, we watched it a day late.
Yeah.
But Toni Storm hits the Storm Zero. She gets a pinfall. And then we see the handshake. Sort of looked reluctant, but I think it's because she was feeling injured or whatever. And then we finally get an actual heel in the match.
Yeah.
And we get the debut. And I think they promised this debut. We just didn't get it in the ring.
They didn't promise it, which made it even better for me, because, like, I like when they actually have, like, the little vignettes and, like, little promos and whatnot, but they don't announce when the wrestler's going to show up. But Jenny finally...
Spelled Jinny.
And I know Cindy was, just jumping with joy probably about this, naturally, because you were talking about Jenny not too long ago. So.
Yeah, last week.
Like when I saw that, like, Dakota Kai got attacked by Jenny, I was like, yep, perfect timing.
Yeah.
Because I think this is like, the better way to have the heels to get used, just to attack someone, and then a stare down all of afterwards. And besides, she is looking pretty stylish per se.
Well, she's another person that's been built up for the last 3 weeks through promos, but I haven't been really itching to see her or anything. But this was the perfect spice to the end of this segment. This balsamic vignette needed a heel in it, and she came out and delivered. She attacked from behind and then stared down Toni Storm on her way back through the curtain.
Yeah.
And that's how we ended this one. And let's move on to the next one, because I promised 20 minutes, and we're not going to deliver, but we'll try to come close.
Yeah.
Next up, we had what, of course, looks like and smells like and probably is an enhancement match. But we had Amir Jordan versus Zach Gibson. And Amir Jordan had a fun dance. He's Pakistani. And I think he laughed over the dance a little bit, but I was watching him like, you know what? I couldn't do that.
I want her pretty much thinking Zach Gibson's going to knock him all the way back to Bollywood at this point.
Yeah. Zach Gibson's going to come out and punch. He kind of looked like a dancing elf.
Yeah,
a big dancing elf with the colors.
He did.
He's going to punch him in the face, knock him out.
He looked entirely too happy to be about to get his ass kicked.
Well, you know what? If it was me and I got to take the pinfall against Zach Gibson, who is primed in the spot to be the next top heel or the first top heel of UK NXT, sure, why not? Smile. It's a good spot.
Pretty much is like It ends with the Helter Skelter naturally, and the Shankly Gates, which I really like that. I really like that submission hold. It's was it almost like a hammerlock kind of? Not really.
It's like the opponent's on the mat,
yeah,
and then a hammerlock behind the head.
Yeah, and
Hangman's hammerlock.
It looks painful as crap. So yeah, and naturally he taps out, and like instead of leaving the ring like any other person would do, Zach sticks around and he talks.
Yeah, and as soon as he grabs the mic, what happens? Crowd starts chanting. This is where the crowd starts chanting. They create the Zach Gibson's a wanker chant.
Yes.
Yep.
It's like, oh, Zach Gibson's a wanker, something like that. It's great. It's hilarious. This is where I like the crowd.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that crowd in the corn exchange does come up with some good ones. And then Trent Seven comes out. Do what?
Like the chant, if you hate Zach Gibson, raise your shoes up. Like
Or take off the shoe. Yep.
Well, this comes after Trent Seven comes out and interrupts, because Zach Gibson's name dropping all these people, but he doesn't happen to name drop Trent Seven,
nope.
Which is kind of a heel move to come out because you're annoyed that somebody didn't include you in their list. But whatever. So Trent Seven basically, he wants a match.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk all the smack you want. How about we face each other right now in a match? And this is where he gets the crowd to start cheering with their shoes in the air, talking about that's how, I guess, one of the shows ended months ago.
Yeah, I'm guessing so too. But naturally, like, he takes off his jacket, and Zach's like, bring it on. And
yeah, tease.
It was a quick tease. Zach Gibson gets out of the ring, rolls out, leaves Trent Seven in there looking ready to go, but at the same time,
not surprised.
And Zach's on the outside. I just had a match. Look at me. I'm sweating. I'm done.
Oh, Trent Seven even makes reference to his shiny, sweaty head.
Yes.
Oh. This was fun. It was okay, but not great. None of this show was great at all. Next, we had a recap of Jordan Devlin's victory 2 weeks ago. Well, 2 episodes ago. And that's because we're about to get a match with Jordan Devlin. But, of course, we get a promo, a selfie promo for his opponent, Kenny Williams.
Kenny Williams.
Oh. It's been a long night.
So basically, like, it's what you think, like you said a little while ago, even the
enhancement talent gets video packages. And they're good. Well, this was more, as a selfie promo, but kind of video.
Yeah. But, like, I didn't know if this was going to be a showcase match. I didn't know if it was going to be a squash match.
Right, because we don't know it. It looked like a showcase match.
It looked like it was going to be a showcase match. And
Williams looked great in this match.
Oh, definitely.
It wasn't a great match, but he looked great in the match. He has a standing uranagi, just this massive uranagi onto Kenny Williams.
Yes.
Because Kenny Williams not only looked good doing a few moves, but he was selling great. And then does a standing moonsault.
Yep. It flowed perfectly. It was like
near fall perfectly, almost a 3.
The uranagi, like, by the time like Kenny pretty much hit the ground, you already had like Devlin already like in position to do the moonsault. Like there was not even really a split second in between there where he was he nailed it with it. So,
but the middle of this match was all Kenny Williams.
Yeah,
he did this. He got Devlin to the outside of the ring, and he does this wicked wrecking ball drop kick through the ropes.
Yes,
but then skins the cat back into the ring, runs back to the ropes, and comes back with a suicide dive onto Devlin that looked awesome.
For me, that was actually the move of the night, I think, because that's one of the situations where I was like, did I just really see that? That was
awesome.
That's what I felt was missing from some of these other episodes, is the fact that there wasn't that move where I'm like, whoa. That was innovative, or that caught my eye. I'm not going to say the move's been boring, but it's the fact that I haven't really seen anything I haven't really seen before. And that Wrecking Ball dropkick was something I hadn't seen. And
okay,
it was
followed by a couple of things that you've never seen put in that sequence.
Yeah.
And it was just a great spot.
Oh, yeah, in general.
But he also does another... It wasn't so great as it was different in that we couldn't name it, and we actually just stopped for like 5 minutes.
We
get
had,
on Wikipedia to try and name
Google.
this move.
Yeah.
I had to Google because it was a victory roll up, but a wheelbarrow victory roll. But he does it into, instead of rolling him up, he throws him out and face plants him.
Yeah.
And it looked great, but it wasn't going to get a pinfall.
No, it wasn't. The match, like, I want to say it could have gone either way, but at the same time, I always had in the back of my head that Devlin was going to win this match. Yeah. And he ended up doing so with the, what they call the Islands Call.
Yeah, the Islands Call.
So, that leads into a graphic saying that Johnny Saint's going to be there this next week with an announcement for the NXT UK locker room. That's going to have, I guess, big implications.
Yeah, Cindy, what do you think the announcement's going to be? You think it's going to be the women's the women's championship?
Well, hopefully it would be because, I mean, like I said before in the last video, that Brianna, who is the NXT UK Women's Champion, we actually pretty spoiled it during the predictions video for Evolution for both the guys' side and for the ladies' side.
Yeah, Rhea Ripley's already the champion, correct?
Yeah, yes. So it looks like for that particular announcement, it's going to be for the NXT UK Women's title.
I could also see it being for the NXT Tag Team Championships, but considering the fact that we have a women's champion, yeah, it would make more sense for it to be that title.
I was about to say the tag title seems like kind of an, I want to say it seems like kind of an afterthought because you have so many different 6-man tag things going on at this point, and you have more of the women talking about the women's title there more than anything. So it wouldn't shock me, but there's no telling. If they try making any other kind of singles belt, it's going to feel like overkill. It really is. It's going to feel too soon because all we have right now is a bunch of enhancement talent, and the rest of them have already been, like, semi-established at least. So,
well, we're finally into the main event, and I think we're beyond 20 minutes, but
yeah,
we're going to wrap this up soon because this main event was okay.
It pretty much delivered where I expected it to. I saw a lot more of
Joe Coffey.
Joe Coffey, actually. Yeah. Flash Morgan Webster actually threw out some great offense into it, like towards the end there. He had that ball of fire thing going for him, and like for a guy being his size, his stature, and everything, he's quite wiry. So it was, yeah. So it was just your basic 6-man tag match. Like I was even just kind of watching it like something big's gonna happen here. Something big's gonna happen. Nothing really big happened in this match.
So if you don't remember from earlier in the show, this is a 6-man tag with the Coffey brothers and Wolfgang. That's Joe and Mark Coffey versus Mark Andrews, Ashton Smith, and Flash Morgan Webster. And those three actually got individual entrances. Yeah. But when it came to the heel team of the Coffey brothers and Wolfgang, they didn't come out to Wolfgang's entrance, and they didn't come out to the Coffey brothers tag team entrance. They came out to Joe Coffey's entrance.
Yes.
His name was the only thing on the LED boards, and I thought that was strange. And my immediate reaction to this was, these guys aren't going to win. There's no way. They all came out to one of them. They rolled a dice to see whose entrance music it was going to be. Oh, man. But I was completely fucking wrong.
Yeah.
That was the only thing noteworthy about this match was the fact that they won.
Yeah. The fact that, the The finish was actually pretty nice. The discus lariat out of Coffee was just...
You know, I'm starting to get desensitized to them taking regular-ish moves and making them look super, super devastating.
Well, just with an Irish whip.
Yeah, just he threw him into a clothesline. We see that a lot.
Yeah.
It was the rest of the match before where everybody's kind of worn down and you're like, okay, that's fine for a finish. They won.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we were maybe I think it's the fact that maybe we were a bit spoiled from the main event from that last show, or just that last show in general, and the fact that this one, I don't even feel, it felt rushed kind of to me, just to this match that really didn't
Deliver.
It didn't deliver. It didn't really pay off too much.
The only bit of freshness that I saw in this match that I really genuinely liked, there was a spot where Flash Morgan Webster goes up to the top rope to do a dive to the outside to everybody. All 5 of them are down there. Instead of like normal, where the camera pans out and you see all the guys just standing around like they're getting ready for a fatality in Mortal Kombat. You know, they're just standing there looking, and then dude jumps and everybody puts their hands in the air to catch him. These 5 are actually kind of duking it out still in their little crowd group. So that when he comes off the top rope, it doesn't look like he's just coming to a bunch of guys that are planning to catch him. I liked that. I'm a fan of that. I hope that catches on to every time that WWE starts or does this in the main shows in NXT everywhere. This was nice. It was so fresh. I enjoyed it. But everything else was okay.
Yeah. All right, so let's go with our 5 spots of tea, I guess, for this match real quick.
Cindy, what do you give it? Out of 5 spots of tea, where's this match?
Well, for this particular main event match, it's just your regular standard 6-man tag.
Yeah, that's what's special.
And as you guys saw on the Evolution's prediction video, Aaron wouldn't hate 6-man tag team matches. And I think this is one of them would be like the perfect example, because I feel it's kind of like, number 1, all over the place. Number 2 is just, pretty standards that you're trying to get everybody in. But like, the only thing that I was really impressed is about Flash Morgan Webster did the Cannonball Senton.
Yeah.
And landed onto everybody. That is like one of the only impressive moment, I would say. And also Joe Coffey's finisher, the lariat to Flash Morgan Webster. Those are the only 2 things that what I remember for that.
There's really doing things that stuck out in the match.
There was no story in this match that I could tell. The only thing that this match was for was to make the right guys look good. And
exactly.
it did an okay job with that, but just okay. And I'm a fan of a story, and we didn't get your rating, Cindy. Out of 5 spots of tea,
I would have to say a 3 out of 5, in my opinion. And this is going to be a continuation of feud that is probably going to lead up to the whole NXT UK tag team titles.
Well, it didn't even tell a story there. There was no story in this match. I think 3 is generous. For a 6-man tag, it's pretty much what you expect out of it. Middle of the road, I'm going 2.5 stars. Or 2.5 spots of tea. I apologize.
The really bizarre part was I pretty much was going to go with like 2 3/4. pretty much like right in between you guys.
Split it down the middle, man.
I was going to be, it's like whatever they say, chances are I'm going to be somewhere around that point. I'm like, it's like, so I'll probably say 2 3/4. And sure enough, you guys are in the same wavelength I am. The fact that, yes, for the match, it is what it is, pretty much. I hate that saying, but that's what it was. That match was built to be a 6-man tag. I knew they were the Coffees and Wolfgang were going to come out on top of it. It didn't really matter. They weren't going to get disqualified or anything. It's a 6-man tag,
Right.
Granted, like the triple threat match, yeah, there's really no disqualifications that can really happen in it. But very seldomly do you ever see a disqualification in a 6-man tag, and you wouldn't really need that for these, because if they didn't win by fair means, the Coffees and Wolfgang would have done some sort of heel tactic and won the match.
Yeah.
But they didn't have to even resort to that. So 2 3/4 and ends with them pretty much standing victoriously in the ring. No real big payoff, no nothing. It was just there. And like I said, we were spoiled by the main event of that last time.
We were spoiled by the entire episode number 5.
It's pretty much anything, I guess, from that last show we watched. Even the squash match, I think I would have put over this one.
Yeah, probably.
So,
the match with Mastiff.
Yeah, because that at least told the story.
Yeah, as brief as it was, it told a story.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to the end of episode number 6 of NXT UK. And before we sign off, Cindy, any plugs?
Alrighty, so you guys can follow me at nodq.com/Cindy. That's going to take you directly to my Twitter page. Also, make sure to follow me at simply_C_OK on Instagram and my YouTube channel, Part 1, and then my second YouTube channel, Part 2, at Tyson Pop Production. Also, if you guys are going to be attending the No DQ 20th anniversary meetup before Survivor Series, please go to the nodq.com's Facebook page. We have like the little events section, so make sure to RSVP KSAP. So
nodq.com/LA.
LA? Perfect. Alright, Aaron's gonna be there, Jeff's gonna be there, Interstate Cal's gonna be there, along with Stone Cold Grandpa, and yours truly's gonna be there as all.
Yes.
So that we can all enjoy, sip some, drink, and all the above, y'all.
And I think Aaron mentioned in his No DQ 20th anniversary live call-in video tonight possible plans in the future for a large-scale meetup where there's going to possibly be like 6, 8, 10 of the No DQ personalities. These two included in Toronto for SummerSlam. Just so happens that it's a short enough distance for everybody that it's possible. So we will keep everybody updated on that. And of course, that's not till August of 2019, so it's a good 10 months away. But in the vein of fans, actually, we want to remind everybody that we want the fans on our NXT party. We want you to join us in this spot where the beautiful Miss Duchess of No DQ, Cindy G, is taking. Next week we will have Owen. And the week after that, who knows? If you want to get a hold of me, my plug is nodq.com/Stefan. That'll take you to my Twitter. Or if you just open up your Twitter, search for Stefan, STEFANR, Osborne, OSBORNE. You can find both me and Jerry in Armbar on Facebook. That is his Facebook group. Yep. Great wrestling group, great memes, some of the funniest wrestling memes. Don't expect to share them. Nobody lets you share them, but you can share them with each other on Armbar. That's all caps, ARMBAR, exclamation point. And on that note, thank you again, Cindy G, for joining us for a spot of NXT.
Yes.
And thank you everyone out there in the No DQ Galaxy for joining us as well. We hope to see you next week. And come have a spot of NXT with us.
Cheers, y'all.
Bye, guys.